And the way this went down yesterday is 8 Republicans voted to oust McCarthy. 210 Republicans voted to keep him. But he went out anyway, because at the end of the day, the Democrats played team ball. They wanted the Republicans to look bad and chaotic and unable to lead the House of Representatives. So Pelosi sent the play into the huddle, and lo and behold, that was the play.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
Got him right out, okay? And that's the Democrats playing team ball, something the Republicans have been unable to do. And, you know, to be clear, there is a comparison to be made between McCarthy and Pelosi. And the comparison is not a flattering one for McCarthy. This guy did not have the votes, okay? It took him 15 tries to get confirmed. He will go down as the only Speaker of the House whose confirmation hearings lasted longer than his tenure, okay? 9 months out the door, okay? And it's fascinating, but he never did quite have the hold over his party, which is why we came as perilously close as we did to a shutdown. And he was only able to avert it, ultimately, by making a deal with the Democrats, who then completely turned and knifed him in the back less than 48 hours after the deal was done.
This is politics as usual.
Which is to say, it's unprecedented. We've never had a House of Speaker recalled and removed. Okay, the last time it was tried was in 1910. But I think the Republican Party learned a very harsh lesson. I don't think it was just Kevin McCarthy per se. I think they're waking up to the reality of just how cutthroat the Democrats are. They want power. They don't care if they plunge this country into chaos. And to be clear, neither did the Republicans like Matt Gaetz, who voted him out of there. But, you know, this whole be careful what you wish for thing you hear a lot about in politics. You know, the whole be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Well, you know, the good news for Democrats is they wished for Kevin McCarthy to get out of there. The bad news is they got it. Understand, if Jim Jordan is the next House Speaker, they're in big trouble. Okay, I tell you this all the time. The people I have on this show repeatedly, I've had a lot of lawmakers on once. You don't hear a lot of them on 5 times, 8 times, 10 times. But the people I have on the show repeatedly, they mean it off the air. Okay, we live in a world now of influencers where most people who serve in Washington are just trying to get clicks. They're trying to be relevant, okay? They're trying to be all over the TV. I want to go viral. Okay, there's a reason Matt Gaetz is walking around with eyeliner on and 12 pounds of product in his hair. Okay, and I like Matt Gaetz on the radio. He's very entertaining. He's very theatrical, but he's an influencer. Okay, and in this instance, he has used his influence to trigger a change in the way we do business in Washington that, lo and behold, really might benefit every single one of us. You know, as much of a clown as he looks like in the moment, if you do get a speaker in there forced to keep their promises to pass single-item bills, to get a budget passed that doesn't require a 45-day looming shutdown every time we need to fund another continuing resolution, it will be progress on behalf of the American people. And I can tell you this, Jordan is a leave no stone unturned guy when it comes to government accountability. That's why he's leading so many charges that he is over on the Judiciary Committee. But heaven forbid for the Democrats, it's not Jordan. If Donald Trump happens to be the next Speaker of the House, my God, the lunacy you will see in Washington, D.C. And to be clear, last night on Hannity, a show you will see me on tomorrow night, okay, Hannity brought up the idea that Trump's name has been floated for Speaker. Here it is, clip 16.
Sources telling me at this hour some House Republicans have been in contact with and have started an effort to draft former President Donald Trump to be the next Speaker. And I have been told that President Trump might be open to helping the Republican Party, at least in the short term, if necessary, if it's needed.
Seriously, though, can you imagine if the Democrats got rid of McCarthy because they wanted to make the Republicans look bad, and then their arch nemesis got the power of the purse? Okay, they really would, actually lose their minds. Like, if you have a liquor license, open a store up in Washington, D.C. immediately. In fact, if you sell things stronger than liquor, because if it's Jordan or Trump, just forget about it. Because they're dealing with, a real deal. Now, for Trump, he spoke about this shortly before his court case. Because naturally, when you're going to be the next Speaker of the House in this day and age, you're probably on your way into a courtroom when you're asked about it. This is the world we're living in. Clip 17.
A lot of people have been calling me about Speaker. All I can say is we'll do whatever
the country and for the Republican Party.
Would you take
we have
a
some
job?
great people.
Would you
I just want to say we have some great people.
Would you take the job?
A lot of people have asked me about it. I'm focused. You know, we're leading. I don't know you. I'm sure you don't read too much in the papers, but we're leading by like 50 points for president. You know, my focus is totally on that. If I can help them during the process, I would do it.
So that's Trump saying if he could help in the interim during this election, he would serve as Speaker of the House.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
The whole Democratic Party would be in big trouble under either scenario. Now, where this would be a win for Trump, and to be clear, I don't think he's going to be the next Speaker of the House, but where this would be a win for Trump is as a guy who fancies himself a businessman, as a guy who fancies himself as a drain the swamp character, who's going to go to war against the establishment and the pork and the selling out of our country. The Republicans control the House of Representatives, which means they control the power of the purse. So you really could make Trump the speaker as a businessman, and let's see him go in there and concentrate solely on the financials of our government. Okay, that would be phenomenal, and it would be a huge boost to his campaign if he ultimately wanted to continue to run, if in fact he could hang his hat on tangible, substantive changes to the way we're doing business in Washington. It would be insane. Okay, yes, the Democrats would lose their mind. Every media outlet known to man would be talking about assassination attempts because he'd be third in line for the presidency, and obviously nobody wants that, and that's not anything we'd ever advocate for. But the reality is the manufactured hysteria that surrounded Trump as a presidential candidate would absolutely be the manufactured hysteria that would be ratcheted up if, in fact, he were to run for Speaker of the House.
He knows what he's talking about.
So far, all we do know is Kevin McCarthy is not running. And here is him showcasing his naivete about Nancy Pelosi. Clip number 1.
It was in this room after we had won the majority. I had become Speaker last. And Nancy Pelosi came to me. She was Speaker at the time on the way out. And I told her I was having issues with getting enough votes. And she said, "What's the problem?" I said, "They want this one person can rule you out." She was the only speaker to have changed that rule. I had the power to call the vote on her, but I never would. I lost some votes because of it. And she said, "Just give it to him. I'll always back you up." I made the same offer to Boehner and same thing to Paul, because I believe in the institution.
I mean,
are you stupid or something?
So Kevin McCarthy says he gave Matt Gaetz and the Republicans, in order to get his speakership confirmed, the right for one person to call for his ouster via a vote. He conceded that right because Nancy Pelosi gave him her word that she wouldn't turn against him.
Such an idiot.
Seriously, he's too stupid to serve in this position. You can tell me it's unprecedented. You can tell me the Republicans look like clowns. Somebody said, the Democrats, I was watching MSNBC last night, they're like, the Republicans are behaving like a bunch of kindergartners. But if the Democrats really thought the Republicans were acting like kindergartners, they would have sent over a drag show.
That's true. That is true.
Okay, but the reality is, it looks messy in the short term, but if McCarthy was dumb enough to trust Nancy Pelosi, he probably shouldn't be the Speaker of the House. I'm not going to lie. If you've got to stand toe-to-toe with consequential decisions facing the House of Representatives, okay, it's very cutthroat in Washington. Nobody knows how cutthroat it is like a guy, named Jim Jordan, or a guy like Donald Trump, who have been in the crosshairs of the Democrats and all of these wild hearings and the House hearings that Jordan has presided over, and the stuff that Trump is certainly going through now. Okay, you need somebody who is battle-hardened. You need somebody who is not trying to read the room. They are trying to lead the room. Okay, Kevin McCarthy is out on his ass because he wasn't a good leader. Nancy Pelosi, we could hate everything about her policies. Okay, but she was a good leader. Her party did exactly what she told them to do.
When you're right, you're right, and you're right.
Okay, bottom line. She sent the plane to the huddle yesterday. She wasn't there to stab McCarthy in the back. She was on the other side of the country in California, but the play came in. Do you understand? Every single Democrat voted unanimously to oust McCarthy. Okay, that doesn't happen unless they've had a conversation about how they're going to handle this thing. And that's how we got to the precipice of voting. A motion was issued to table the resolution. Hey, do we want to even have this vote? Yes or no? And lo and behold, every single Democrat was like, yeah. At which point McCarthy was like,
This could be a problem.
like, you know, it's bad when he was looking around for Bowman to pull the fire alarm. It's like, hey, can you get us out of here? This is not good. Okay, but the Democrats absolutely shivved McCarthy. Pelosi, who gave him her word that she'd never turn on him, she'd always have his back. She made the same deal with John Boehner. Ultimately saw an opening and stuck that knife right in.
Bingo.
So McCarthy, in that regard, probably too naive to run this thing the way we need him to. But again, if this is ultimately addition by subtraction, every single Democrat that was celebrating last night all over cable news now made a bed they're going to be forced to sleep in, and they're not going to be happy about it. Okay? Let me give you some of this, okay, because it's so fascinating. I'm sitting there last night waiting to go on Ingram. Okay, and the way, life works here, we're on the radio, you're hearing me wrap up the show. They're about to vote on McCarthy. Who knows how it's going to go? We all made a prediction, me and the comedians, Aaron and Brett and Jocelyn. And then lo and behold, the thing played out. And then I just find myself sitting in a chair waiting to go on TV. And McCarthy announced he was going to speak at 7:30, and they brought on Gates to rebut everything McCarthy was going to say. And I was just sitting there watching like history play out in front of my fat face, waiting to potentially go on TV. But the thing dragged on long enough that there was only about a minute left in the show by the time she could have went to me. So, I got sent home. Fine, that happens in a live news scenario all the time. But as I was sitting there behind the scenes listening to these guys talk, it is 100%, I can tell you this, personal between Gates and McCarthy. But what everybody in establishment D.C. is starting to wake up to is the reality that it's also personal between us and them. McCarthy became Speaker. Republicans were given back the House and the power of the purse because voters didn't want a go-along to get-along House of Representatives. They wanted border security. They wanted an America where we were a bigger spending priority than Ukraine. They wanted an America where your citizenship means more than the people breaking into this country illegally. Okay? And McCarthy, with very slim majorities, did some productive things. But if you were staking your whole existence in Washington on trusting Nancy Pelosi, you weren't going to last that long to begin with.
And I'm out here in the real world, and I know what's right or wrong or bullshit.